Okay, so when airbrushing, as you can see, I've got quite a little collection of airbrush as well itself, and that is just still a small collection what I actually own at the moment with airbrushing. Now with myself, with painting, I love to use airbrushes. Airbrushes are quite cool. They can really get your job done quickly, and the beautiful thing about airbrushing is you can get those blends in quite smoothly as well, and it really does help speed up your process when painting. So you know, there's so many perks and benefits to airbrushing. With Twisted Dice, when I do my painting videos, a lot of my times when I do the painting videos, I tend to use the airbrush pretty much at the beginning and towards the end as well, because there's so many cool properties that you can do with these that's going to help speed up your painting. But look, keep tuned with the channel, because there'll be more things I'll take you through when airbrushing, when doing my painting videos. Hopefully you'll find some bits in there that'll be interesting. So as you can see, I've got a small little collection, so you can probably tell that I'm a bit of a Badger fan, as you can see. Now I've used many different types of airbrushing. I've used the cheap ones, you know, the ones you can get for like 15 pounds to 30 pounds. They're great if you're going to start. If you're going to start off airbrushing for the first time, that's a great brush to get used to. Because with airbrushing, if you're not new to it and you're still quite an amateur at it, you will find that you'll break the airbrush pretty much very quickly. So going with a cheap one first of all, it doesn't really matter so much. If you do have an accident, of course, by all means, make sure you look after your brush the best you can. But if you can't, these are the best ones to waste your money on. And as the times progress, you know, I've had the Badger Renegade. Renegade Chrome, which has been an absolute friggin' airbrush. I've got the Evolution one from Steinbeck. Now I've also had some different brands as well, which, you know, this is, by the way, this is not an airbrush review on this one. I will be doing another video where I'll be breaking down the different airbrushes that I own and talking through which ones are the best ones to use and the best ones for money wise. So stay tuned for that. So, you know, it's definitely well worth sticking around for that one. So the next up I want to talk about is potentially saving you money when it comes to the maintaining of your airbrush itself. Once you've done your airbrushing, you've gone through and, you know, you've done your beautiful coat on your actual model itself. Now, if you are going to thin down your paints in the model itself, I would specifically suggest that you would use a proper airbrush thinner itself. So for myself, I'm always using the Vallejo airbrush thinner. Look, there are other brands out there, but I just found that this one specifically works really well with the Games Workshop, Citadel paints, and of course I use a lot of the Vallejo stuff, and it works really well for that, and it's quite a nice little airbrush thinner itself. Now there's probably going to be some hate out there, but don't care. That's the bottom line. That's the one I use, and that's the one I like. When it comes to cleaning out the brush itself, this is where people get caught out, and this is where you can waste money in the maintaining side of it. So it's really important that once you've finished airbrushing for the night, or once you've actually finished airbrushing full stop, that you make sure that you clean out that airbrush and make sure you get out all the old paint. So this is the downside of airbrushing, I suppose, that this is the part where it can take you a little bit longer for the maintenance side. With a paintbrush, once you've finished that colour, you know, you just swish it out and you just start on to the next one. But with the airbrush, you've got to make sure that you maintain it correctly. So the first little tip that I'm going to give you and save you money is just to get yourself, or save yourself back, a jar. So as you can see, we've got Pickle Rick in a jar. No, not really. It is an old pickle jar, but it's just fill it up with just plain kitchen water. Tap water, so I say kitchen water. Kitchen water could be anything, but no, this is just plain tap water. So once I've done my airbrushing and I've just about to finish up what paint I've got in there, one little tip I will give yourself when airbrushing, if you're only going to do, let's take this Orc Boy, and we're just going to paint, say, just the face and the arms, but that's the only colours we're going to go. Why would you fill up the whole cup with the airbrush? All I would tend to do is maybe put a drop of paint in there, a drop of thinner, mix it up, and just have just a little bit of paint in the actual airbrush itself. Two reasons. If you've got loads in there, if you're only going to do a little bit, you're not going to find the airbrush is going to, you know, the nib of the actual airbrush itself is going to dry up. So that's one little thing on that, and plus you're not wasting paint as well. If you are going to do a bigger project, maybe you're going to base coat the whole army in a red, say, providing that you don't add any other colours to that mixture, and you've just only put airbrush thinner into it. What I tend to do as soon as I've finished, I will pour back the paint back into the actual bottle itself. At the end of the day, it's just thinner and it's just broken down paint, and it's not going to, you know, for me, it hasn't caused me any issues to date at the moment. Now, again, I know there's going to be some hate on it, like, you know, people are going to go, ah, you shouldn't do that. People do it. A lot of top painters do that as well. I know of a lot of top painters that do it. It's just airbrush thinner, and it's not gonna cause you many problems on what you're doing. So that's another little tip on there. Oh, chucking paint at me now. So when I've finished painting up with once I've actually finished spray painting, what I will do is I've got an old paintbrush, and with the excess paint in there, before I put any airbrush cleaners or any fluid in the actual brush itself to get through that excess paint, the first thing I would do, I would actually just spray out all the excess paint itself, and I'll spray that into one of these. Now, they're not very expensive. They're about 12, 13 quid. They're not very expensive at all, but what you've got in there is a little filter on top, and you just spray all the excess paint into that traption itself. So that's going to be the first thing I would do. The next thing I'll do before putting anything in there to clean out, I'll just take the old paintbrush, and all I would do is put my airbrush into the actual water itself, and then all I do is just rinse it out, just get all the excess paint out first before applying anything else. Now, that method is not going to get all the paint out. By all means, it's not going to do it. So the next step I would do is, there's two things you can do. You can either use the airbrush thinner itself, which will cost you about £10 for the actual bottle itself. Now that will go quite quickly. Or you can spend £10 on Airbrush alcohol, which is like 99% alcohol. You know, that will come in like a, by the way, this is not it, but it will come in a bottle this size. You know, for £10, there's quite a lot of stuff in there to clean off. And all I will do is, with an old airbrush thinner tuck bottle, I will fill that up with the alcohol, and then just that last bit, I'd pour that into the brush, and I'll just give that then a little spray through to get through the excess paint. And then the next tip I will do, I'll just take a bit of tissue or a J-cloth, whatever you're using, and then I'll just pinch the ends of the brush itself, and then I'll just blow back the excess thing, and then that would actually help break up the paint that you've got stored in the actual nozzle itself. So that's the first thing I'll do, and then just tip the excess out into my water, and then I'll just apply that same process again. Put some more of the alcohol in there, spray through, and then just do another blowback. And then what you're looking for is that when you're doing the blowback, is to make sure that the fluid inside is going clear, and once you've done that, you know you've cleared it. Now, the second tip I would give yourself when doing that, I would just loosen up the arm itself and then just pull back. So if I just put there's a little bit of paint in here. So all I would do is just, with that, cover that up, and then just run back and forth the actual needle itself. And what that will do, that will make sure that there's no paint that's got caught in this section here. So definitely just before you finish airbrushing for the night, just go through with that, and then just, if we just tip that excess out, take the needle, just take it out of the airbrush itself, and then just give it a wipe over. If you don't, you will get bits of dry paint stuck on there, and that can affect your next round of airbrushing. And then just for storage, when putting it in, now I'll take you through another step in a second, but just before I finish, I'll just put it up to there, and then just lock it off, making sure that there's no needle extruding. The reason why I say that for is quite easy to drop one of these, and it's then quite an expensive little thing to sort that bit out. Now, with the alcohol, it's you know, it's really good at cleaning out the old airbrush out of the model itself. Just be very careful that you don't get any of this on your model, because it will strip paint, believe it or not. And then, of course, you know, you can use a bit of the Airbrush Cleaner if you desire. But for me, I don't really use that as much. I tend to use the alcohol more. And as you can see, because I know there's going to be haters out there, and there's going to be people that are not going to like this, but I've had that airbrush now, it's got to be what, 5-6 years ago, and it's been fine. You know, it hasn't damaged any of the rings. It's been absolutely perfect for what I'm doing. So just also bear in mind that When you're doing this with the alcohol, just make sure your room is ventilated, because it is alcohol, and you're probably going to get high. You're probably going to get high, and I shouldn't probably say that, because someone, guarantee someone out there would do it and absolutely take advantage of what is available. The next tip I'm going to give you is thinking about when you're actually basing your models itself. Now, there's two types of primers that you can use. You can either use the rattle can, which is good. It's good for slapping down paint very, very quickly. But what I tend to find in my neck of the woods, that when I'm doing this, if the can's not to the right temperature, or the atmosphere is not great, you will get that horrible speckling effect, the dusty effect, and it absolutely ruins your model, and then you have to strip it and start again. That's time and money wasted. You don't want to do that. But of course, it depends upon yourself and where you live in the world. You know, that might be absolutely fine for yourself. But for me, I will use an airbrush thinner. Sorry, I use an airbrush primer itself. I have got a video up on YouTube showing you how to use this. Just look for the dodgy thumbnail with the two of these stuck together, and I'll show you how to use these. But these are really cool for making sure that you keep your detail. When you're going to use this for your airbrush, of course, just make sure that you use the airbrush thinner, because that will help that flow through your airbrush, and you know, make sure that you got perfect coverage on there. So now the next part I'm going to go through is, again, with the Solitaire, is one of my favourite airbrushes. Now there's many different brushes out there. So if we go with the Evolution, you can see you've kind of got like the protection on there, and I think this one has got that bit on there as well to protect the actual needle. That's really cool. Now when I like to airbrush, I do like to make sure that I can do the blowback. When I'm filling up the paintbrush itself, I like to put a bit of paint in the actual cup and then blow it back to actually mix the paint up, which is cool. With the Evolution, you've got that little bit of protection, but for me, to cleaning, and that's knackered. How is that knackered? I don't even know how I've managed to knacker that. Yeah, but with the Evolution, you've kind of got the protection on there, which is kind of cool. So you can actually just get in there and clean that off. And of course, you can pinch it to do the little blowback, which is kind of cool as well. Now with the Solitaire, you don't have the protection of the needle. So as you can see, once that's through, you are very exposed on the end. So if you do drop it, it is game over for your needle. So if you're not comfortable using an airbrush at the beginning, I would recommend getting one that has a bit of protection on there. Otherwise you will knacker these off. But for myself, when I'm airbrushing, there's two reasons why I like not to have that protection on there. One, when I'm airbrushing, when the tip starts to dry, I can just get a bit of old tissue and I can just pull off the excess paint, just to then allow me to start airbrushing again quite freely. And of course, for the blowback, it just makes it a bit easier. And when maintaining it, as I said, just make sure pull that back and lock that off just before you finish airbrushing, and that'll make sure that you don't have any unnecessary mistakes. Now the next two tips that I'm going to give you when airbrushing, now this is very important and crucial. Now bearing in mind that the type of paints that we're using, most of the time they are not really hazardous, but at the end of the day it's paint, and it may in the future cause you some issues or some problems. So the two things that I would recommend that you use is make sure that if you don't have a well ventilated room, try to make it so you've got the windows open, so you've got fresh air coming into that room, because that's really important when airbrushing. Second thing is, when you're airbrushing, you have got the ability to coat your walls in whatever colour that you're working on at the time, so having that ventilation will help. But there's two other things that I would recommend getting. One would be a what they called. Now the next thing I would recommend you getting yourself is a spray booth, and as you can see, I've got the window right next to it. As you can see, my spray booth is quite messy. It's one of those things. It is a messy environment at the moment, but I'm just at the moment in the process of redoing this part of the studio, the part that you can't see, but it's something that I am working on at the moment. Now that spray booth is quite handy. I do have it next to the window, so when I'm actually airbrushing, or even if I'm using a rattle can, I will do it into the spray booth, and what that does, that sucks out all the toxins and all the bad stuff, and it just pushes it out the window. And that's really where you want to be. But if you don't have the money for one of those, by the way, before you do it, make sure you do your research before you purchase one. I've had 3 now. This is my 3rd one, and this one is actually pretty good. But the 2 I've had in the past, One of them was okay, but it was just a bit big. The one previously was just absolutely garbage. So just make sure you do your research first. Make sure you read the reviews, that you get one that's not going to be terrible, because there's some out there that just don't really suck the paint out, and it just leaves all the vapor and the fumes in your environment, and that's not what you want. If you can't afford that, you can get yourself a rebreather. Again, just make sure you do your research, because there are different types of filters that you can purchase. Now the one I've got, so the one I've got is this one, and the actual filter on it itself is the FA11. So the filter that I've got on there is the FA110. Now, when Sean, my buddy, done the actual research on them, these were apparently the best ones to use for the type of paint we use. So I didn't actually do the research on that. I can't actually take credit on that one, but I've been assured these are the best ones to go for the type of paint that we're doing. But it's really important that, again, when you're doing it, just make sure that you've got that on, just protect your lungs and your nose, because look, we don't know what potential, you know, things are going to come for them. And that's it. So, and that's it. I wanted to keep this short and sweet. So hopefully you find some bits in there that's quite useful. Ooh. Now, this is going to be the last tip that I'm going to give you with airbrushing, and this is probably one of the biggest ones in there. Hairdryer. As you can tell, I've got a lot of hair, and hopefully this is going to be the last day that I'm going to have to suffer with long, unstylish hair. But this is probably the best one, the best bit of tip I can give you when airbrushing is have yourself an air dryer. Now the beautiful thing with this is when I'm actually airbrushing itself, I don't go too heavy on the actual paint, pulling back on the actual brush itself, so not loads and loads of paint will hit the model. But when I'm using the actual hairdryer itself, I'll just tap that down to slight. So when drying the model itself, it will just be a slight. Not. If you pull back too far, what will happen is, as you're drying the model itself, it will push the paint all around the model itself. And again, if you put too much paint on the model, it's going to have that effect. So just put it on the first setting, just having that gentle, warm air blowing onto the actual model itself will help dry what you've done quickly. And believe it or not, that single thing is going to help you speed up your painting process. Like, this is probably one of my most important tools that I've got when airbrushing, even when painting with brush. This is probably one of my favorite tools out of the whole lot of my collection. Now, I get ridiculed by this from Ace, but a hairdryer is a very important tool. If you're going to be getting up, if you're going to be painting up models for your tournament and you want to get through quite quickly, the hairdryer is a key tool. And of course, I've even got a second one where it's attached to an old microphone stand, and with that allows me then to put that into position, so I can then have that constantly going. So as I'm painting, I'll then quickly just put underneath and then carry on underneath, carry on underneath, and that just really does speed up my process. Anyway, thank you very much for checking out this video. It's a very short one. Hopefully the next video I'll come up with will be a tutorial. Sorry, the next video I'll be doing will be a guide or my review upon some Badger products. As I say, I've got a couple of Badger airbrushes. I've also got the Evolution to show you how well these work. Hopefully you're going to enjoy that one, because I'm going to hopefully show you some cool products that I've got from Badger. We'll go through like the costs on how much it costs to replace certain parts, because that's really important that when you're buying an airbrush that you think about those elements. And of course, look, you know, later on in the week we're going to have some tactical videos from Ace, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Friday we will have a battle report, some form, shape. Providing that everything goes well, we've had 2 battle reports we've recorded so far. Unfortunately, you missed the awesome battle report between Orcs and Tau, where Tau got absolutely annihilated by Orcs. But it is what it is. Anyway, look, thank you very much for checking us out, and hopefully I'm going to catch you all soon.